3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Shin Gear. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
Yep.
Can't wait to wear them bibs next week.
It's only going to be in the 70s.
I saw that. One time, the high was going to be like 42. Now it's going to be like
70s and I think 60s for the low. So
that's crazy.
It's going to be not much cooler than Texas next week.
How do we drive, or not drive, how do we go 1,500 miles north of here and the temperature not be any colder? Matter of fact, we're going to be in the 60s, I think, here on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. High 70s, low 40s, or upper 40s, so that's not bad at all. They're getting rain this week, so get that shit out of the way before we get to Canada.
Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you. If we went up there and the high was 55 or 60 and the low was 40, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to go up there and be in a blizzard.
No, it's fine, but I mean, it's not going to be cold by any stretch of the imagination.
Nope. We can't
wear a light parka and probably just wear, I mean, that's...
It's going to be colder on our second trip to Canada than it is the first one. It's colder. It's colder over there.
That would make more sense. It's also a week later.
But I mean, it's a lot cooler there than it is in the plains of Canada.
They say the East Coast is going to get bombarded this year.
Well, they're bombarded with idiots because we saw that on the football game last night. I am so tired of Taylor Swift shit. Tired of it.
So you're going to talk about it more?
Yeah.
Oh, makes sense.
I'm not going to talk a lot about it. But what's amazing is I told Mom last night, at first it was just Taylor Swift, the whole fucking thing.
Really?
And then I started looking at Facebook, and everybody was bitching about it, and then it wasn't on there for a long time. So I was wondering if maybe somebody in the league office said, whoa, hold on. America does not want to keep seeing her shit. We want to watch football, not her.
I was in and out, so I didn't really pay. I didn't see a big swing of Taylor Swift stuff.
Well, the first part was bad.
Really?
First 15 minutes, all it was. Don't give a shit. Do not care. But as soon as when I right before the game started, I told Mom, I was like, son of a bitch. If Taylor Swift shows up, it's in New York. That's all we're going to hear about. Sure enough, bam.
She sold out JetLife Stadium.
She didn't sell it out. They were sold out before.
No, they were not.
They were not?
When Rodgers went down with the injury, ticket sales went to the floor for the Jets. Like everybody, just nothing. You get tickets for like $50.
But they sold out that game?
After she said she was going to be there.
I just don't get the fascination. I just do not get it. I can tell you one thing, though. It's hard to beat the Kansas City Chiefs because there's 4 guys in the black and white that are also on their team, I think.
Sure does seem that way.
Their officiating is skewed. And we're going to piss all of our Chief fans off. I used to not be a Chief hater, and I'm not a Chief hater now, but it sure is hard to pull for the Chiefs because in every big game, every big call is going to go their way. Last year in the AFC Championship game, last year in the Super Bowl, and then last night.
Did you think that was defensive holding?
No.
I didn't either. I thought it was good defense.
It was football.
Right.
They're both trying to get after the deal. The play before that, though, when Mahomes had the long run, number 11 for the Jets got held big time.
Oh, yeah.
He held his hand up even and showing officials.
Raped.
Official didn't do shit about it. And I'm tired of that shit with the damn Chiefs. I'm sick of it. They've got a great football team. They got arguably, the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, he's right up there with Tom Brady and getting that way. And but I'm tired of all this. I mean, it's just every fucking game, if it comes down to crunch time, they're going to get everything. And they are America's team. But I think that everybody's in the boat now. You either love the Chiefs or you want to see them get beat.
Right.
I don't think there's no feel-good story anymore about Patrick Mahomes.
No.
And the Kelsey doing the Vax commercial and shit, he's fuck him.
Twice vaxxed.
Yeah, good. Hope he gets 8 more of them fucking boosters.
Twice.
I hope Taylor gets 10 herself. We had a Gold Star weekend this weekend. Very successful weekend. Good kids. It was a great time to be here. We appreciate everybody that sent a donation or sent something here. I can't list everybody because I'm going to leave somebody out. Thank you so much for reaching out and helping. We really do appreciate it. Next year, we are going to do 8 kids. It's going to be first responders kids and Gold Star kids. And I'm going to ask for 8 people to come here and help hunt with those kids.
8, like sponsors?
8, doesn't have to be a sponsor.
Chaperone.
Just a chaperone
kinda.
For 8 kids. So we have 8 adults here to help with the mom or the dad or whoever's coming that hunt. We were pretty fortunate. Corey came up and really helped. We had one little girl that hadn't hunted a lot. She turned out to be the best shot of the whole weekend, I think.
Yeah.
But we had four girls and 3 boys. Well, we actually had 4 and 4 because we had another boy that we added on. So we had 4 and 4. So it was a good weekend. Very excited. Glad it's behind us now. See, we will do the 3rd one next year. We'll do it the first weekend in October, I believe is going to be the dates for it. What'd you think about? I know you probably haven't watched any politics. What do you think about Gavin Newsom putting in a lady from Maryland as the new senator from California? She did check the boxes, though. She is black and a lesbian. He was looking for a black transgender lesbian, but couldn't find that, so he had to just stick and check 2 of the 3 boxes and just did black lesbian.
Look at this. There's like a magnet right here in my laptop.
Okay.
Look at it. It'll take it.
We're talking about black transgender lesbians, and you're playing with a fucking magnet.
Well, that's fascinating. I wonder if that is legitimately a magnet to like store stuff. Look at that. To like store stuff to where it doesn't like slip off of your computer.
I doubt it.
Or if, is it on this side? It's on this side too.
Can we get back to the black lesbian now?
Is she from Cal? Like, I don't understand. I don't know anything about this.
The law is you're supposed to reside in the state you get elected Congress or appointed or have to run an election. Hillary Clinton, of course, did not move to New York until John F. Kennedy Jr. supposedly just happened to crash in just a very had a plane crash at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyways, they appointed this black lesbian. I guess all the straight people were booked that day.
What's the problem?
I don't have.
Is she not from California?
Supposedly, she lives in Maryland, and her residency's in Maryland. But now, all of a sudden, all of her stuff from Maryland has been scrubbed.
LaFonza Butler.
Yeah, her and her wife, or husband, that's got a vagina, whatever you want to call a lesbian husband. Anyways, they have a daughter. I'm assuming it's an adopted daughter, or one of them got knocked up by somebody else. But anyways, they have a daughter, and they live in Maryland. Well, how do you live in fucking Maryland and become a senator from California?
Butler grew up in Mississippi.
I mean, and it's just the same. Let's pick from our inner circle of people, which that's his right. He's the mayor or the governor. That shows you how people.
Soon to be Democrat nominee for president. 100%. I will. I'll bet the fucking farm. Why? Everybody has switched. Everybody.
What do you mean everybody switched?
Just look at what he did last week. We had the Republican debate. He does an interview with Hannity. So he stole the show at the Republican debate. He's walking back all the stuff that he did recently as far as coming in and taking, if your child identifies as trans and you're not doing anything to help it, he's walked a lot of the trans stuff back. Yeah, he's going to be the guy.
So you're telling me that the Democratic Party is not going to have any sort of debate or convention or anything, and they're just going to put Gavin Newsom on the podium?
I'm telling you, I don't know how they're going to do it. He's going to be the guy. I don't know how. I don't know if there is going to be an election, if there's not, or a primary. I'm telling you now.
A lot of people think Big Mike is going to be the man in charge.
I'm telling you now.
Okay.
It's going to be Newsom.
I don't think so.
Why would he just come out and just switch on everything?
Well, I don't know that he switched on that much stuff. He switched on one thing. And
he's out there now. Why would he go to the Republican debate and do an interview with Hannity right after a Republican debate?
I don't have a clue.
Why would Fox News even entertain that?
I don't know. Him and DeSantis are going to have a debate too.
Exactly.
Well, DeSantis ain't going to be the Republican nominee.
Is Newsom running for president?
Not yet.
Then why is he having a debate with DeSantis?
Because the governor's about the differences between the two states, he says. I'm not denying that he doesn't want to be president. He will not be the Democratic nominee, I don't think.
It's going to happen.
I don't think so.
Just get ready.
I don't think he could win the Democratic primaries if they had a primary. I don't know how they're going to get by and kick out Robert Kennedy Jr. I really don't know how they're going to do that and still keep the Northeast like they've got it on lockdown. I don't think that they've got a chance in the black community. The black community's had enough of the fucking Democratic shit. You know, Snoop Dogg comes out and called all of us dumb motherfuckers, I think was the word he used.
Mm-hmm.
But he needs to go fry himself with Martha Stewart some more. Used to be a big Snoop Dogg fan, not as much no more.
Snoop a loop.
Snoop's a dumbass.
She was known as a political ally. This doesn't say, she's... on the Board of Regents at the University of California. She resigned in 2021.
You talking about the lady that they just appointed senator?
LaFonza.
Yeah, she lives in Maryland. I think she lives in Baltimore.
But did she take like a position?
It doesn't matter. You have to live in the state. You require residency in the state that you're a senator from to be elected. Now, she's appointed, so they may have found a loophole on that.
Right.
It doesn't matter. The Democrats have their own set of rules. We found that out in the last fucking election and everything else we done. And if you're from California, you should be fucking banned from politics. Kevin McCarthy's no different than fucking Nancy Pelosi. You know? California, the land of fruit and nuts, and they are fucking everything up.
It says residency in Maryland.
Yeah, that's where she lives at. I don't know how he got by with that. He said he did not want to appoint someone who's already thrown their hat in the ring to run for that position because he doesn't want to give them a heads up. Now, if she decides she wants to run what she's in there, that's her business, he says, which makes sense. But, you know, they don't do nothing that's not for their own political gain all the time. And the Republicans are just as fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, this stuff with Ukraine is getting so old.
I can't find anything.
One news source did a interview with people from Ukraine about how they rely on the United States for our money. And if it wasn't for the U.S., what would they do? And you know what? Fucking move. And I did see where Bill Clinton broke ranks on the Democrats today and said that they've got to do something about the border. It's killing New York City. It's just killing the whole state up there. Well, you ought to fucking live in Laredo, Texas.
California's newest senator, this is from the New York Post, we're going to get a right-wing slant, is a resident of the state of Maryland. Okay, LaFonza, Democratic Golden State Governor Gavin Newsom announced Saturday that he will be tapping Emily's list.
Are you blind?
What?
Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You said Saturday.
Oh. However, records indicate Butler has spent recent years far from the constituent she will represent for the next 15 months. A Federal Election Commission filing from the end of August for the... Okay, I don't care about any of that. I just want to know what loophole they found. Don't give a shit. Butler is a longtime California resident and homeowner. She moved to D.C. when she became president of Emily's List. Butler has already re-registered to vote in California.
Yeah, she had to scrap all of her Maryland stuff.
Right.
She lived in Maryland before being scrubbed around the time Newsom's announcement. I don't give a shit. It's not like they're going to elect anybody that's got a fucking brain or appoint anybody with a brain. They're all liberal, better for thee, me, rich people that take advantage of everybody else. We all know that shit. But it's just crazy how that works. Mm-hmm. I can't believe he couldn't find a black lesbian in California that lives there to do it.
Right.
It's just, I don't understand these people that have to set up a standard of who they've, like Joe Biden. He had to have Kamala Harris because he had to have a woman of color.
Mm-hmm.
So women of not color didn't have a chance in the world because their skin tone's wrong.
They were discriminated against.
Yes, big time. And here he had to have a lesbian. So if you like dick, you're not going to get elected in California, it sounds like. And I don't understand why you think gay people are smarter.
Well, not smarter, just a different perspective.
What's the perspective? Take out sex.
Being gay.
Take sex out of the whole deal. What the fuck? How does that make you different?
I guess everything. I don't know. Never been gay. I don't know how you're different.
I mean, I just don't understand why someone's sexuality is a standard for anything. I don't get it. I don't understand for any job why we got to hire 2 lesbians. Why? You know, why can't you just hire 2 women? Or why does it have to be a woman? Why can't you hire the best person for the job?
Yeah.
She may be a brilliant lady. I don't know nothing about her.
I bet she is.
I can tell you right now that going in the room that she's in, it won't be hard to be one of the smartest people in that room. And I don't know a story about her other than she's gay and she's black, and that was the reason she got put in there. Like I said, she may be a smart lady, but most of those people that are in that room of senators, most of them all come from the same thing, a long line of money and East Coast schools.
Yeah.
And I'll bet her background is that she comes from an East Coast school.
Probably so. Good for her, though. just doing right by her constituents.
Yeah, well, in California, it wouldn't be hard to do.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for the good people there. I did see where they had another record loss exodus of people and taxpayers.
Right.
And they don't care. Anyways,
continue to happen.
Bill Clinton today come out and said that he thinks basically he agreed with the Democratic governor of New York and said that Americans' low birth rate requires that the economy be shored up by either immigrants or machines. So he's either for robots or illegals, because Americans, what he's trying to say is Americans are too fucking lazy to work. That's what I got out of that. And I would agree with him on that. Most Americans are too damn lazy to work, or a big portion of them, especially people under 30. But he thinks that the New York City's right to shelter law must be changed. We need to fix it, Clinton said, and that the law doesn't make any sense. The right to shelter has existed in New York City for over 40 years and requires sheltering for the homeless. New York is an asylum city. They come here and we're supposed to shelter people who can't get work permits for 6 months. We need to change that, he said, claiming that migrants have a right to begin paying their way in American society. They ought to work. They need to begin working, paying taxes, and paying their way. What I don't get about this whole deal is why the fuck do you have to put them up in a $500 a night hotel room?
Right. I guess to let them really get a taste of what America's about. Nice hotel rooms. I don't know. Fuck, Jeff. That's a woman question.
No, it is a woman question, but I don't get it. When you could, I don't understand why the standard for an illegal immigrant. Now, first of all, most of these people are coming from third world shitholes. Am I right?
From what I've seen, yeah.
Okay, you don't have very many of them coming from Abu Dhabi.
No, well, why would you immigrate if it was better where you came from?
Perfect point. That's right. These people are coming from places with not running water, a lot of them, no sewer, but we're supposed to stick them and put them up in the fucking Taj Mahal here. You know, I think that if we're going to give them, I think we need to give them water, and we need to give them shelter. We need to give them food. But a fucking tent city would be fine. Our veterans live in fucking tents and shitholes sometimes. You know, build a tent city for them, put them up in tents and stuff, a refugee camp. You know, we don't have to put them in Manhattan. You know?
Well, they're getting bused to Manhattan. Texas is busing them to Manhattan.
No. We're busting them to New York City. New York City's taking them to Manhattan and putting them in these nice hotels.
Okay.
They build a tent city for them. Take an old abandoned airport hangar somewhere and put them in there and stuff. We don't have to put them up at a place that's costing the taxpayers $30 million a day. That's dumb. You know, I don't blame Texas for getting rid of them. We got more than our share of them. We ain't whining over getting 80 of them a day. We're getting 2,000-3,000 a day. You know, build a freaking tent and stuff. If they don't like it, then they'll go home.
No.
Yes.
No, they won't. How are they going to get home?
Well,
they spent everything that they fucking have to get here.
Why did we not have this problem in 2018? Because when they got here, we shipped their asses back home. And we told those places, listen, if you don't take this plane with these immigrants and you don't take them back, we're cutting off all your funding.
Okay.
We had someone that was for America, and now we got someone that's for everybody but America.
Right.
But these democratic places like this and this Mayor Adams in New York City, you know what? Build you a freaking place for them that's a lot cheaper. You can't tell me there ain't some old warehouses in New York somewhere that you can't put in bunk beds and put some water and showers in and put them there.
But do you really think it'll be cheaper by the end of the day? By the time the government goes in and builds this from scratch, you really think that that's going to be cheaper than what they're already doing?
Of course not. If our soldiers and our military can live on eating sea rations and shit like that, so can illegals.
I understand. I get that, but I'm saying if you're now all of a sudden you want the government to come in and build all of these places, and you think it's going to be any cheaper?
I'm not talking about the U.S. federal government. I'm talking about the city of New York that's paying for this shit, and the city of Chicago, and the town of Laredo. All these places in Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and California, they've done this for years. Nobody ever said nothing about it because they didn't give a shit. Now that's in their backyard, they don't like it. I'm saying that Mayor Adams in New York City bitches about it, and they're spending millions and millions and millions of dollars. You can make this shit a lot cheaper. Rice and beans are not expensive. You know?
Well, I disagree.
We feed school kids cafeteria food, and it don't cost much. How much does it cost to feed a kid at a school lunch and breakfast?
I'm just telling you that anytime you get government of any level involved in anything, fucking costs skyrocket.
Well, yeah, because they do. Everybody's on
you're
the
going to have the
inside deal.
exact same thing whenever they make these FEMA camps up.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, you could. I don't understand why all of a sudden they're going to do this and it's going to be financially responsible.
If the city of New York, who's bitching and raising hell more about all the money they're out, they can take those people in them high dollar freaking hotels and put them in a National Guard armory or something and feed them a lot cheaper than they're feeding them. Don't give them a card for $3,000 a month at DoorDash and shit. Make them eat cafeteria style food. The same thing you feed our troops. Same thing you feed our prisoners. You know, if our prisoners are over here, we can feed them a day at cheap. We could also do the immigrants this way, the illegals. There's a way to do it. It's not fair to those people in Manhattan. I don't live in New York, so I don't give two shits. If you live in New York City and you've got all this shit in your neighborhood and you're not out bitching and raising hell, you're a fool.
I think a lot of them are.
They should be. It's ridiculous. But we don't have to put them up in these high dollar places. Right. You know, the old sheriff at Phoenix, I can't remember his name, Arapaio or whatever it was. You know, he put the old MASH tents up and put them there. Do the same thing for these people. You know, if they're coming over here and they're not working and stuff, then put them in that. We don't owe them that. We don't owe anybody anything. For some reason, the whole world thinks the United States has to needs to be daddy to everybody, and we don't need to do that shit anymore.
Well, we're daddy to everybody, but the people that live here.
And it's gotten worse for what we're doing for our own people.
Work. Oh, just work your life away, give half of your shit away so that we can send it to somebody else.
But most of
we're the world's piggy bank.
What's the percentage of people in our country that work now?
Well, I mean, unemployment's what?
No. I'm not talking about unemployment. I'm talking about percentage of people that actually work. How many people work and pay taxes? Isn't it like 52 to 48% or something?
57% paid no federal income tax.
43% of the people in our country are paying the bill for almost. So basically, 40% of the people are paying for the other 60%.
Well, and that's just because they couldn't figure out how to get out of paying it.
All right, I'm going to school board question you since you're a school board member.
I don't know the answer.
We have standards that we have to teach at our schools, correct?
There are TEKs, yes.
Okay.
So the state of Texas sends out, every teacher has what they call TEKs, and then your lesson plan is built around hitting whatever's inside of it.
If you have a teacher that works here and she does not, and this has nothing to do with us, so I'm not setting you up on a question for anybody within
right.
500 miles of here.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a teacher and she's teaching math, English, science, what is that, the Common Core subjects?
Yep.
Is that the three of them?
Math, science, I don't know if history is one of them, but we'll say history. I think there's 4.
We need history to be there too because people need to know it. But anyways, whatever it is, if they don't teach their class and a percentage of their class fails, then that teacher's going to get written up or talked to, right?
Yeah. So they would get put on kind of like probation, I guess would be the word.
So if you had a teacher and she taught, we'll use math.
Okay.
A math teacher, and 75% of her class was passing. 25% was failing.
Okay.
I personally think that she's not doing her job, or him.
Okay.
I would say 90 to 10. If 10% of the kids aren't passing well, 10% of the kids are just fucking stupid.
Right.
But I would say 90 to 10 is a good ratio. As a teacher, you ought to be able to get 90% of your kids to learn. Now, today's classroom, kids have no respect and stuff, so we'll go 15% can flunk, and I'd say the teacher's probably still doing a pretty good job. The city of Baltimore, Maryland, not one kid passed their math in high school. Not one kid.
In where?
In Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Not one.
Yeah.
There has to be the nerdy one kid in class.
No. I mean, like all of Baltimore? Or
all
just
of Baltimore's inner city, municipal, it's consolidated school districts.
Those schools are failing, Jeff.
The ghetto schools. Call them what it is.
They're failing.
But not one kid. There's got to be one smart kid in class. Has to be. Is a smart kid just not even going to school no more because of all the gangbangers and shit?
I mean, probably, yeah. I'm sure most of the smart kids have figured out a way to go to a charter school.
Okay. Cut off fucking Baltimore schools from federal funding just like we should do Ukraine. That's terrible.
No, that's not. If anything, you need to throw more money at the problem.
How? If the kids ain't willing to, I mean, we're talking not one kid.
Right.
I don't even know how that's like Obama getting 100% of the ghetto votes in Cleveland when he ran that second time. There ain't no way.
Students at 40% of Baltimore's 40%, Jeff.
I saw a deal stat yesterday said 0 in one class, not one kid. You're throwing in the good high schools now, I guess, with the shitty schools.
I mean,
Look,
this one says no student was proficient in math in 23 Baltimore schools. This one says, so yeah. So basically this one.
That one accounted, the one that 40% counted all the good schools too.
I guess so, but that was September. This was a day ago. This is more recent. That one up there was from February.
Okay, look at the one down below that said 13. You were on it just now. 13 Baltimore City high schools. 0 students tested proficient on 2023 math.
I think you would have the opposite effect here. If you took funding away from these schools, they would turn in. It would be bad.
But what are we teaching the kids at school?
Obviously, you're not teaching them anything.
Okay,
but I'm not putting the blame on the teachers here.
Because not one kid? You don't think the teachers are doing their job? I'm not telling you that. I'm not saying those teachers aren't in an uphill battle there. Because they are. They got a shitty deal they got to deal with.
You saw that movie with Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm sure that's what it's like every fucking day.
I watched The Wire, and you hadn't seen The Wire, have you?
No, but did you see that Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer? The Wire is the same way. It's just the shit that kids go through. And The Wire, a cop lost his job as a cop, and he became a teacher at this school, and that was how they spun it into it. But you see those kids, and you feel sorry for, because the good kids I feel so sorry for. But there's the disrespect and trying to teach there with all that shit. Let's see if I can find this video.
And they don't want their teachers to carry guns. I'm telling you right now, those teachers need to carry guns to protect themselves.
I don't know. I don't know.
Look up Baltimore Dunbar High School.
Fort Worth Dunbar?
No, Baltimore Dunbar. Look up Baltimore Dunbar High School and look and see what their ratings is for education. I bet it's bottom. And the reason I know Baltimore Dunbar, that used to be a big time mecca for high school basketball, so I'm assuming it's an inner city school.
I don't know. Is ranked 13th within the District of Columbia. Students have I don't know. I mean, they're top 15, so that sounds good.
Well, if there's 13 schools and you're number 13, it's not so good.
Okay. Paul Lawrence Dunbar High ranks worse than 71% of high schools in, I don't know if it's Maryland or the U.S. Doesn't say.
We are taking the majority of our children now because these inner city schools have got all the kids.
Yep. Or
a big portion of them.
That's going away.
What do you mean?
I think a lot of people in these inner schools that can leave are leaving.
But the people that are staying there are having multiple babies, and they're not leaving. You take one of those big housing deals like Cabrini Green or one of those big ones, and they're full. Thousands and thousands of people live there, and those people aren't moving. They're not going nowhere. Their kids get out, and their kids get them an apartment, and they start having babies, and it's 3, 4, 5 generations of this stuff. So those schools are still going to be here, but we're spending all this money and all these kids, and we're not getting nothing out of it. We're not setting no futures up for anybody. They're not an asset to our country.
Somebody walked in.
I'm assuming so. Ollie's gotten all excited over there. But it's just a continue, and it's going down, that train is going down that track that's never going to change. And I don't even know when this started.
I'm sure
1964?
Yeah, right around there. Just whenever the government got in subsidizing single motherhood. That's when it all started. It all goes back to that, Jeff.
Yeah. Mr. LBJ. You know, that it's interesting in history. If John F. Kennedy would not have been assassinated, would we have passed some of this stuff that LBJ passed? Was they going to be trying to buy votes? Because let's be honest, voter fraud ain't nothing new. Because John F. Kennedy might not have been president if we'd had a fair election.
Right.
There was, I think he won Texas, and it was pretty. There's just a lot of rumors about some counties out in Duval County and stuff that some voting boxes changed the election.
There was voter fraud here. So little local history.
In Knox County?
Yeah. 1976. There's a small town called O'Brien. 1976, the town of Knox City, the school was $250,000 in debt, which you can adjust that for the rate of inflation and
$1 million.
About $1 million. So the small town of O'Brien has 150 people at the time, probably. And they were at a time where they did not have many students. So O'Brien approaches Knox City and says, hey, we'll pay your debt. We'll get you back to zero. You, in turn, will educate the children. You'll have a campus in O'Brien. So when this happened, I don't know originally what happened, but when I went to school, junior high, 5 through 8 was in O'Brien. Okay. So fast forward to today.
Your mom went to school there same way. So
yeah, but for a while there, I think fourth might have gone over there for a little bit. So anyway, I don't know how it was set up in 1976. Anyway, however many years ago that was, 40 something. Our population has declined, and it did not make sense for Knox City to have a school over there anymore. We were utilizing 4 classrooms out of however many are over there. I think there's like 10 over there. We're utilizing 4 of them. So we brought everybody back over to Knox City. We've closed the campus in O'Brien. Well, in our research, we have since found out that the community was split on the issue, pretty much 50-50. I think it passed like 220 to 196 or something. It was a close vote.
That was a lot of voters too back then, because that was big 90% of your voting base probably.
But anyway, there were a lot of people that could not vote in that. They went to one place and they said you're in the wrong precinct. So they turned potential voters away from the issue. So there was, I even think it got tied up in litigation somehow.
So you think there was a concerted effort?
No. I just mean that people dropped the ball, and there was, for a long time, it was thought that there was voter fraud, which that's not the term that they use, but some fugazi shit going on at the local level 40 some years ago. So voter, people not being able to vote or whatever, you want to call it voter fraud, that's fine. It's not new. Look at the 2000 election.
No. It's not even close to being new. The only reason Donald Trump won in 2016 is Democrats didn't think he had a chance in hell, and they didn't have a chance to cheat. But John F. Kennedy won Texas on a pretty narrow margin, if I'm right. And they think there was some voter fraud because LBJ, who was the vice president, was a senator from Texas, and he was he was the Senate Majority Leader. Pretty powerful man.
But the Democrats complained of voter fraud in 2016.
No, I know they did. But it's because they didn't cheat enough.
Right.
Yeah, no, they didn't call it voter fraud. They called it Russian interference.
Right.
Which we found out it's all a lie that Obama okayed and signed off on. It was all a bunch of shit. But we've had voter fraud for a long time. I think
Louisiana has been a cesspool for voter fraud forever.
Yeah, since George Washington was here. I think that if you look on the Kennedy deal too, I think Illinois was another big place that they did some fugazi shit. Anyways, they got him elected on some. He won by pretty narrow margin, and some pretty questionable tactics were taking place.
Right.
It was harder to cheat in 1960 than it is today.
I disagree.
Oh, I don't. Because of computers, they can hack computers and shit.
No, I think it was ballot stuffing. Fuck, that's all you got to do. Just get the ballot, stuff the boxes, and walk away.
Where?
Anywhere.
You think it was easier then or now?
Yeah, there wasn't a paper trail. I mean, now with all the technology that we got, it's easier to track it now.
I think it's easier to cheat now because of using computers to count votes.
I think it's probably more effective. I think you can be a more effective cheater if you want to be that way. But the paper trail, I mean, it ended. Like there were no cameras set up back then. I think it was way easier to cheat. Now, you might not have gotten the major swings that you see now, but I think as far as like just cheating, it was way easier back then.
There's a lot of things easier to do because the technology was slower. But I think there's more people had a moral compass back then than they do now.
Right. So here is about before midnight. NBC didn't call a race until 7 a.m. Too close to call. Chaos. I think it's... Oh, this is just a drama behind the Kennedy election. I might be scrolling too fast. But popular.
Less than a half of 1%, or less than 0.2% Illinois, where Kennedy won by 9,000 votes, and where Texas, Kennedy won by 46,000. Both states had some pretty fugazi shit going on at the time.
Right.
I heard when I was a kid that you know, that would have been like 10 years after Kennedy was killed. People still talked about it a lot, about some shit that happened. I can't imagine growing up when I actually thought that both parties had my best interest in mind, because it's been a long time since I think the Democrats had any kind of best interest of me in mind. And now I don't think the Republicans have any, so I don't think either one of them do. And I don't think we'll ever see in my lifetime an actual third party.
Well, there's never been a third party.
And I don't think in my lifetime it's going to happen either. Oh, I think there was a third party. I think when the country first started, there was 3 or 4 parties.
Well, yeah, I mean.
But in the last 100 years, it's been a 2-party system, and I don't think it'll change at all.
Well, no, because they both get... Listen, if there's one thing that the two can agree on, it's keep out competition.
And they're good at that.
Like, I mean, if there's one thing that everybody will rally around, it's we definitely don't need a third party.
No.
Or fourth or fifth. But yeah, way back in the day, I'll look up the Washington election.
You and George Washington?
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody thought that they would beat him.
Why?
I mean, the father of the country, he was the general. I mean, he was, the only thing that ever got him was them fuckers cutting him to death.
I did get him. His teeth were not made out of wood either, come to find out.
What were they made out of?
Horse teeth and slaves.
Huh?
Yeah. I'll show you his dentures here in a minute.
So his teeth
were horse teeth, and he had lead in them. I guess however they put them together, I guess they used lead to...
They probably did to...
mold everything.
Yes, that's interesting.
Jeff, full of useless knowledge.
Those people back then drank so much sweet tea and stuff that their teeth were rotted out like the English are today.
He was an independent. Candidates were Federalist, Anti-Federalist,
or Cosmopolitan.
Well, that's just what they called them.
That's what the Federalists were, Cosmopolitans. So it's basically a 2-party system. I don't think the Republican Party came in until slavery.
Right. Oh, so it was a 2-party system back then. Federalist and Anti-Federalist. Boy, that was a fucking landslide. 90% to...
40,000 people voted in that. 43,000.
Yep. Anyway. Well, I guess it was because he was an independent. You had Federalist, Anti-Federalist, and George Washington was an independent. Now, let's go to his dentures. Poor guy had a fucking...
Never had any kids.
Well...
He married well, though.
Look at those fucking chompers over there.
He was a high stepper.
Look at those.
Made with... I'll be a damn...
I'd always heard they were made out of wood. But like they basically just pieced it together.
Could you imagine getting your teeth pulled out in 1790 something?
Woof. Yeah, so right here, contain no wood and often would be made out of teeth extracts from enslaved people. Ooh. as well as other materials such as hippopotamus, ivory, brass, and gold. Had metal fastener springs to force them open, as well as bolts to keep them together.
Mm.
He was just gumming it.
No wonder some bitches were skinny.
That might have been why he didn't have any kids. Could you imagine trying to pick up a wife with a fucking grill like that? It wasn't because he didn't want to reproduce. It's because he couldn't.
A horse is a horse, of course, of course.
Mm-hmm. There's a new Napoleon show coming out I want to watch with and that's why he didn't smile right there. Probably didn't have him in. Napoleon. There's a new Napoleon show coming out. Joaquin Phoenix plays Napoleon. I want to watch that.
Is it a series or just a movie?
Just a movie.
That would probably be really a good movie, though.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fantastic. You can still buy the cologne that Napoleon wears. Still making it today.
Do what?
Yeah. You can still buy it.
What's it called?
I'll find it.
I bet it got a heavy scent of vanilla in it.
Napoleon cologne. Yeah, there it is. $447.11. Right there. That's what he wore.
$17 on Amazon.
Yep.
I like to buy weird shit, but I'm gonna probably skip on this one.
It's a good price.
Yeah, it's what makes me think it's probably not very fucking good.
Lemon, bergamot, never heard of it, and orange. Middle notes of lavender and rosemary.
I would have figured it had vanilla in it if it was back in the day like that.
He would write his wife, and when he was on these, what do they call them? Fighting.
Battles.
Yeah, whatever. Campaign. He would write her and say, listen, I'm going to be home at such and such date. Do not bathe. I want to take in your aroma.
Oof.
Loved the natural scent of his wife.
Oof.
So, old boy was a freak. 5'6" is what he stood. A little taller than what I was expecting.
I thought he was like 5'2".
Yeah, because everybody says you got a Napoleon complex. Well, 5'6", that's 4 inches shorter than me. I figured he was a little guy. Real little guy.
I don't think he was I think he's probably, I bet he weighed 130 pounds maybe. Like a fucking jockey.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Was he a brave man?
I don't know anything about him other than the cologne he wears and what he used to tell his wife.
He liked stinky women and he liked cologne.
Physical. I don't want physical stats. I don't want descriptions.
His face is more oval than round.
Good for him. 5'6" tall. Give me a weight. His neck was short and his shoulders were broad.
Look up there and say, was Napoleon brave? I'd like to know if he was a fighter or one of these guys that just, you know what I'm talking about, was really a tough guy with everybody else doing the fighting.
90 kilograms.
I don't even know what the fuck that is. Didn't he die of syphilis or something?
That I don't know. 169 pounds. So he was a hefty little fella.
I think he died of gonorrhea or something maybe.
Somebody will know.
Hate to ruin the movie for you.
Dang it. I don't know why it's doing this. There it is.
Stop breathing.
Stomach ulcer. Stomach cancer. Bleeding, gastric ulcers, and a huge dose of
whatever the hell that is.
Calomel, a compound containing mercury that was used for medicine back in the day.
Yeah, mercury killed his ass.
Did you know, I saw this, modern medicine is like the third leading cause of death?
Doctors kill more people than guns do a year.
Right. Well, and a large portion of people die from misread prescriptions because their handwriting is so terrible.
No, I can believe that.
Okay, let's see. Did Napoleon fight in battle? He fought more than 80 battles, losing only 11, mostly towards the end of the French.
Yeah, but that's not saying if he fought. His army did.
He was wounded at the Battle of the Nations.
Going down there.
By a bullet? How far?
That right there. Click on that one. It says, did Napoleon fight any of the battles?
I just said he did.
He planned.
As far as leading by personal example, I would say no, although Napoleon was certainly present.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, when you watch those in their movies, of course, but like Braveheart and stuff,
Yeah.
what in the Civil War, what a vicious way to go.
You would be better off dying there than going back to the medical tent.
Yeah, like on the Civil War, when you see them, they're sawing them guys' arms off or legs off and shit. They've been shot by cannonballs and stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck.
You're way better off just dying.
I would be curious to know what the percentages of soldiers who died in the Civil War, in the Revolutionary War, War of 1812, World War I, from infections compared to the actual what the bullets done to them. Because in World War II that we lost lots and lots and lots of people in Vietnam, but I think most of them was going to be done from the actual wound and not from the infections they got.
Right.
Like when you watch these movies now with these trench warfare, World War I, oh man.
2/3 of the approximate 660,000 deaths of soldiers were caused by infection. So only 1/3 actually died on the battlefield.
That was
in
during
the Civil War.
Yeah.
Yep.
That doesn't surprise me at all. And I'm going to bet you that probably World War I is probably pretty close to that.
Right. Another thing that I saw recently, in World War II, the Uh-oh. Well, I'll save this because it's very interesting. We'll be right back. Anyway, they would take prisoners of war, and they would take a piece of bamboo, and they would plant it underneath. They'd plant it in the ground, and then they would handcuff and shackle these prisoners of war, laying them on the ground, and then the bamboo would grow through them and kill them.
Now, this Vietnam?
Yep.
I know that they used the bamboo, so they would shackle them.
They'd basically lay you on the ground, and that's where you were. Couldn't get away. They'd lay you on the ground, and then there would be a piece of bamboo, and over the course of like 3 days, it would grow through you.
Because they grow fast.
Bamboo grows so fast, and it would just...
No shit.
Right through you.
Mm.
How would you like that to be the way that you go?
God almighty.
Feel a little, and they would cut it in a manner that like it would be like a sword tip, like a knife tip, basically. Plant it, and then it would just right through you in about 3 days.
What some vicious people. And then what's crazy is the people over there, they're like, well, you need to be open-minded. Them fuckers, what they done to us was horrible.
Well,
now, we shouldn't have been over there.
Well, we were...
I'm not saying we didn't do the same thing either. We just tried to kill you instantly.
No, well, I mean, you got the rape of Nanking where you had a bunch of soldiers found a village that had no fighting age men, a bunch of elders, women, and children, and then they went there and you can let your imagination run wild.
We're not innocent. I agree with you on that. But it's like the people that get upset, especially during World War II, because they put the Japanese in these confinement camps or what, I can't remember what they call it. Internment camps. And they would, it's a terrible thing to do. Well, you know what? Maybe we need more of that attitude sometimes around some things. We wouldn't have so many problems. We hadn't had trouble with the Japanese since then, have we?
Well,
no, we haven't had any problems with the Japanese since them days. And actually, they're a clean, beautiful country now. But that doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of things they did with the bamboo, and they would put like monkey shit on them and stuff, where it would be nasty, and it'd get in you, and they'd cut you, and you'd get sick of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Fed alive to ants. Nasty stuff over there. The trenches, they had trenches and stuff. Trench warfare, or tunnels, basically. They put all sorts of booby traps. Yeah,
we had a guy that worked here that was an electrician that lived in Knox City for a long time, and he was they called them bunker rats.
Right.
And would go in these bunkers. You know what I'd be scared to death of instead in hunting or fighting over in Vietnam, as much as I was worried about Charlie coming out and shooting at me? Fucking snakes.
Well, they'd put snakes in these tunnels.
Oh, they scared the shit of me anyways.
The Viet Cong would, and you'd be crawling along, and then there'd be a cobra, which, you have to crawl, basically.
Sam Kennison taught us all about that, if you'd been my age.
Oh.
Do you know who Sam Kinison is?
Yeah, he's the guy that screamed on stage all the time.
Have you ever seen his deal when he talks about Charlie?
I don't think so.
Look, go to YouTube and go up Sam Kinison Back to School.
I mean, I hold history very sacred. Sacred. The way the farmer looks at the earth and he holds it sacred. The way a Christian takes the Bible and he holds it sacred. The way a lot of people hold their marriage sacred. So I feel about it. So why don't we dive right in by interpreting one of the easiest events in the last 20 years of American history. Now, can someone tell me why in 1975 we pulled our troops out of Vietnam?
The failure of Vietnamization to win popular support caused an ongoing erosion of confidence in the various American but illegal Saigon regimes.
Uh-oh.
Is she right? Because I know that's the popular version of what went on there. I know a lot of people like to believe that. I wish I could, but I was there. I wasn't here in a classroom hoping I was right, thinking about it. I was up to my knees in rice paddies with guns, and then we're going up against Charlie, slugging it out with him, while pussies like you were back here partying, putting headbands on, doing drugs, listening to the goddamn Beatle album.
Hey, Professor, take it easy, will you? I mean, these kids, they were in grade school at the time. And me, I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover.
Oh, Mr. Helper, man.
Well, I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper. But since you want to help, maybe you can help me, okay? You remember that thing we had about 30 years ago called that Korean conflict?
Why did Rodney Dangerfield have to go back to school on this?
He was a rich deal, and he found his wife was banging the butler or some shit, and he said, "Fuck it, I want to go back to school and have some fun." So he went back to college.
Oh, this is college, not high school.
No,
Okay.
it's college.
Yeah, where we failed to achieve victory. How come we didn't cross the 38th parallel and push those rice eaters back to the Great Wall of China and take the brick and nuke them back into the fucking Stone Age River? How come? Tell me why. Say it. Say it.
All right, I'll say it. Because Truman was too much of a pussy wimp to let MacArthur go in there and blow out those commie bastards.
Good answer. Good answer. Like the way you think. I'm gonna be watching you.
A good teacher. He really seems to care. About what, I have no idea.
That was Rodney Dangerfield was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Him and Caddyshack was so good. There was some good movies back then. Anyways, that's a really back to school. He I can't remember the whole story. He's a rich guy, and he made his money doing Tall and Fat Chef.
What do you mean?
I think that was it, or is that Easy Money? One of the shows he does, he has Big and Fat stores.
Rodney Dangerfield does?
Yeah, and I can't remember which movie it was. I'm getting them both confused. But anyways, in that deal, he goes back to school, and he basically, his son's a kind of a nerdy fucker, and he wants to be on the dive team. He's not on the dive team, and he taught him how to do the triple Indy. He used to, like, at Coney Island, was one of the divers, and he made money in business stuff. But he was an interesting guy. It was a funny show. I mean, it was guy 55 years old goes back to college and throwing big parties all the time and throwing money in there and getting Van Halen to come play. And
did you ever hear Kinison talk about world hunger?
I don't know if I did or not.
Well, like I said, I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to just do whatever I can for people. Like the world hunger thing, the USA for Africa. Isn't that great? You guys hear the song? Nice song, isn't it? Beautiful. I'm like anybody else on the planet. I'm very moved by world hunger. I see the same commercials. Those little kids starving and very depressed. And I watch these things on TV, and I see those commercials, and I look at it, and I go, God, how cruel, To see a little kid out there, and I go, fuck, I know the film crew could give this kid a sandwich. The kid's not out there, filming a letter from home with a Betamax, huh? There's a director 5 feet away going, don't feed him yet! Get that sandwich out of here! It doesn't work unless he looks hungry! Well, I'm not not trying to make fun of world hunger. Matter of fact, I think I have the answer because I spent a lot of time working it out. And if you want to stop world hunger, stop sending them food. Don't send these people another bite, folks. You want to send them something? You want to help? Send them U-Hauls. Send them U-Hauls, some luggage, and send them a guy out there that goes, hey, you know, we've been driving out here every day with your food for like the last, 30, 40 years. And we were driving out here a day across the desert, and it occurred to us there wouldn't be world hunger if you people would live where the food is! You live in a desert! Understand that? You live in a fucking desert! Nothing grows out here! Nothing's gonna grow out here! You see this? Huh? See this? This is sand. Yeah. It's sand. You know it's gonna be 100 years from now, huh? It's gonna be sand! We'll take you where the food is.
We'll make one trip.
We just don't live in them, asshole.
We have deserts in America. We just don't live in them.
Guy's got a point there.
Yeah. Well, then you'd have more immigration. So.
Have you seen, you know what, though? People that are hungry like that, they want to come over here and go to work.
I mean, until they figure out they don't have to.
And that's our problem. We've made it way too easy. Have you ever seen George Carlin? I've seen George Carlin in person, and me and Mom sit on the front row, and I'll never forget this. He started making fun of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I was uncomfortable, and I wanted to leave. But I did not have the balls to get up and leave from the front row and walk out.
No, I wouldn't have either.
Because he pulled the old, if there is a God, please strike me with lightning right now, proving to us there was no God. He's in his thoughts, because he didn't strike the stage. I thought, oh, shit.
Right. Was anything else funny, or do you
He was absolutely spot on so many things he talked about. When he talks about big politics and big pharma and stuff, everything he talked about, he's kind of like Alex Jones.
Right.
As time passes by and stuff.
He was ahead of his time. 20 years ahead of his time.
Way ahead, probably 30 years ahead of his time.
Right.
Because we saw him in 1997, 98, 99 in Vegas. We saw him, Jackie Mason, Don Rickles, and somebody else. Was
Rickles any funny?
I had food poisoning, and I did not get to go. That was the day of the Super Bowl with Green Bay and Denver. Right. And I've always been mad at myself for not getting to go to that. Don Rickles was great. I mean, you watch him on set, makes fun of people in there.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find any short clip of him, but
of who?
Carlin's
great.
Most of them are pretty long.
Yeah, and I liked George Carlin a lot more than I did Rodney Carrington.
Right. Did you see what? Speaking of comedians, did you see what Bill Maher told DeSantis?
No.
Oh my God. I'll pull it up.
I'm about 20/80 on Bill Maher. I'm not usually a big fan of his. About 20% of the time he says shit I really agree with, though.
He fucking roast DeSantis right to his face. If I can find it. If I can't find it, I can.
He's got the Jim Rome complex, though.
Does he?
Yeah, all them guys talk like Skip Bayless. He talks about them players and shit. One of them players ever bitch slaps his ass, he watch what he say about him.
Right.
Because I wanted to see Republicans win key races.
And
I think it's important.
That's not a deal breaker issue for you. That's not democracy.
Well, okay. Well, let's go back to 2016. Your friends in Hollywood were cutting ads telling the Electoral College to vote against Trump in the Electoral College because it was stolen. They said Russia stole the election. For years they said that. So don't act like this is like a unique thing in modern history of the country.
I had that backwards. Ron DeSantis destroys Bill Maher.
Well, good for Ron DeSantis, and I'm not a big DeSantis guy.
What the hell? Here it is.
Okay, why run against Trump? You're trying to thread this needle that will never happen.
Well, for a couple reasons.
You can't disavow him because that's the base, and yet you're running against him. And that's why, I mean, let's face it, Ron. If campaign was going well, you wouldn't be on this show.
He's right, too.
DeSantis didn't. So.
He's right. It's a waste of money.
Yeah.
Chris Christie, every one of those people's wasting money.
Let's face it. If your campaign was going well, you wouldn't be here.
Who do you think is going to be the running mate for Trump?
I still think it's going to be Kennedy because I think that
I wish that would happen.
I think Kennedy's going to get screwed, and I think Kennedy is going to be. Kennedy's already said he's for sure going to go third party. I just hope that the relationship that Kennedy and Trump have, because they do have a relationship, I hope that they can come together and pull this thing off.
Kennedy will end up being president if Trump gets elected because he would get it the next term.
Right.
Because let's face it, if we didn't have the COVID shit, COVID gave them every excuse they had for the mail-in ballots and all that shit to beat Trump and to cheat. If we wouldn't have had that, I think Trump would be president still. Gas would be $1.50 a gallon right now. We'd be energy independent. We wouldn't have all this other bullshit. Taylor Swift wouldn't be dating Kelsey. Did you see what he said about that? He said he made a comment about it. He goes, "Oh, good for them then." And they said, "Well, do you think they'll be together a long time?" Not a chance.
Does Belichick get fired at the end of the year, or is he
retires.
not fired, but forced out?
I don't know who you're going to get in there any better. Mac Jones is terrible. He was a terrible coaching job yesterday. I thought Arizona showed everybody how to play Dallas. You got to run right at them. Micah's hurt now.
Yep.
And
I think people showed you how to beat the Chiefs too. I think the Jets showed you blitz.
You got to blitz every fucking play. You're going to
blitz them,
and that's what I would say about the Cowboys too. Blitz his ass. Make Dak Prescott make a bad decision because Mahomes made a lot of bad decisions yesterday.
He did. He should have had another turnover.
Yes, Mosley
right in the hands.
Yeah, and that would have been when Kansas City kicked that deal. But
right,
I think Cincinnati's done for the year.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know if
that calf.
But
their line's terrible.
I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's the time that he missed from training camp. But it is not looking like a good investment on Cincinnati's part.
If I had to rank the NFL teams right now, today, and every week it changes because after week 2, the Cowboys look like the world beaters. Then after week 3, it looked like Miami was world beaters.
Yeah.
The team that's just consistently plugging along is the San Francisco 49ers.
We're going to see this. We're going to see Sunday night.
Yes, and I think we won't get to see it.
Well, the
world is going to see it. And I think that right now, if I was ranking the NFL teams, I would put San Francisco 1, I'd put Philadelphia 2, and I would probably have Buffalo 3, and I think Detroit's 4 and Dallas 5. I'm not sold on any other AFC teams.
I'm not sold on the Lions just yet. They look good. I'm not taking anything away.
I think Buffalo's a lot better than the Chiefs are.
They'll play. I don't know what week.
And Buffalo's fixing to get Von Miller back, aren't they? Or is he playing now?
I don't know.
I think he's still out right now. But I think San Francisco and Philadelphia are the 2 best teams in the NFL.
December 10th at Arrowhead.
Yeah, I think Buffalo's a lot better football team.
Right.
I mean, they've got good receivers. They've got a good defense. Kansas City's really good defensively. Zach Wilson is absolutely horrible, but he played really good in the second half. But he got some time.
I think he's starting to learn, because they've always said that West Coast offense, it's more timing and putting the ball in a spot. Hit your drop back and then put the ball here. And he started doing that in the second half, with some of the back shoulder fades and just some of the timing routes that he did. So maybe he's grasping it. I don't know.
And they played a good Chief defense and should have won the game last night. I really thought they should win, or at least should have had a chance to tie it up to go to overtime.
Right.
And there's he was terrible a lot of the night. The Chiefs might have shut him down. It was a very good football game. The better team won.
Yeah.
But the Jets played a really good game and had an opportunity to win that game.
And there were a lot of missed opportunities. A couple guys dropped the ball.
Yes.
Zach Wilson made a kind of, he didn't hit the spot. That guy was wide open in the end zone. Couldn't. So the better team definitely won, but it was a better game than what I was expecting. Because if the third quarter would have been like the first half was, I was ready to turn it off.
I think Mac Jones is about done.
Oh.
I think Bailey Zappi probably is going to end up being their starter from here going on out. I thought Bailey Zappi had a good chance to win. He played a lot better last year than Mac Jones did.
Right.
Mac Jones is horrible. I mean, absolutely horrible. Maybe as bad as Justin Fields, except Justin Fields can run. Justin Fields had a good fantasy game. That's the problem with Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a really good fantasy quarterback because he runs.
Right.
But he's a terrible quarterback. I always rip on him, so I'm going to give him some props today, is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's really looked good this year. Yeah. He's done a really, really good job, and I've ripped on him and said he's not a Super Bowl quarterback. I don't think he's a Super Bowl quarterback now to this day, but the Ravens are really good, and I think Baltimore's going to end up winning that division.
Right. It might.
I really do. Cleveland without Deshaun Watson.
And I just saw this. Lamar Jackson is missing his all-pro left tackle and lost his right tackle midway through the game.
Yeah, Ronnie Stanley hasn't played none this year. I don't think, hasn't played much at all. But they've got But that's what makes the NFL so good. You thought Miami was just, going to just beat the piss out of everybody.
Right.
And they got there in Baltimore, or Buffalo just beat their ass.
Yeah.
Handed it to them. And Dallas was really good, and Arizona beat them. So in the NFL, you never get to know what's going to happen. We were down to almost 4 teams left in the survivor pool because like 6 or 7 people took Kansas City.
And I took the Eagles, and that was
not a gimme game either. The Redskins have improved a lot. They really had. Sam Howell was terrible the week before. Last week he played pretty good still. Philly's got such a good team, and they can run the ball.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not, and everybody knows I'm not a big Cowboy fan, but I have a lot of respect for the Cowboys. The Cowboys got a very, very talented roster, but their weakness is the strengths of Philadelphia and San Francisco, as they both can run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And Dallas is not very good against the run.
Bet you wish you would have taken Christian McCaffrey now.
Every freaking 53-point day that he had like yesterday, pain led me astray.
Get Austin Eckler.
Oh, yeah, get Austin.
You need
NFL,
Austin Eckler.
Blah, blah. Yeah, bullshit on that deal. It's costing me. It'll cost me getting a chance to play in the money for this year in both of my fantasy teams.
You're gonna miss me playing.
Yeah, you got 2 good teams, so.
53, 22, 28, 26, and 37. Christian McCaffrey's points.
What are they now?
53, 22, 26, and 37.
Steady as a rock. What a team, though, too. And you know what's crazy? Debo didn't even get a catch in that game.
Really?
Yep. But they won, and that's what counts. And Brock Purdy, is he the most underrated quarterback we've had in a long time? You're still not sold on him?
No. He hadn't played anybody yet.
Well, but he just puts numbers up every time he plays.
Yeah, but
it's the NFL. Well, every team's playing the same way.
I think his schedule's going to get a lot harder. He played Pittsburgh, the Rams, the Giants, and the Cardinals.
The Rams are good. Cardinals beat Dallas. Okay, look at Dallas. Who's Dallas played?
But hold on. So next game, Dallas, and he plays Cleveland, then Minnesota, Cincinnati, bye, Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, Seattle, Philly. We'll see what Purdy has this week,
but
against the Dallas defense.
Okay, I agree with you on that. But let's look at Dallas's teams they've played. Dallas has played the Giants and the Jets, 2 of the worst offenses in football.
Mm-hmm. Then they played
Arizona
and the Patriots.
New England.
Yep.
And none of them teams are good.
I agree.
There's not very many teams have played good teams. I mean, there's a lot of really terrible football teams right now.
Yeah.
And then you get a team like Tennessee that shouldn't be very good. They're not an easy win.
Well, they never are. Vrabel's a good coach.
He's a very, very good coach with not much talent. Not much talent at all.
Mm-mm.
All right, we've got, who do we have on tomorrow?
The guy that wrote the Duck song. Gun Dogs and God or something like that.
Williams Knife Guy, did you say he's coming on?
No, it's not going to work out. He's busy this week, and then we're gone for
a month,
the foreseeable future. Tyson Schultz is his name.
Okay,
he got a duck hunting song out there. So anyway, be interesting talking to him. And then, we're just piecing it together as we go. We got 2 big trips back to back, and you've got 3 trips back to back. So it's going to be an interesting schedule.
If you're looking for some goose hunting days, I still have a Monday and Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I don't know why. Every year I have 1 or 2 days. I just have hell filling in all the way. Excellent time to hunt. That's there. I got some days in December left. I've got the week between Christmas and Thanksgiving. I think I got 1 group I can still run between Christmas and New Year's. Christmas and New Year's. And I have some January dates left, and I still have 5 days, I think, in Nebraska left. So anyways, holler at me, 940-658-3172. We appreciate y'all for listening to us. Thank you, and God bless you.
Jennifer Aniston posing just lingerie.
Huh?
We'll have to look at that. Go check out our sponsors. Go check out Lucky Duck, MLR Graphics, Dive Bomb Industries, Ducks Unlimited, Dirty Duck Coffee, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shell, Shin Gear, Looking Glass Podcast, Duck, I've already said that one, Double T British Kennels, Mossberg, Stanfield Outfitters, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, and Hemp Hill Farms.